This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Okayest Hunter podcast, coming at you from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. I'm Eric, the single host tonight. Late start for tonight. Had my daughter's Christmas concert this evening, so went to that. And we do have a guest I'll bring on here in just a moment. We got the Primal Pursuit fellas coming on in just a moment. They're out of Utah. I think there's somebody. So we got JD and Cody that'll be joining me in just a moment here. We are brought to you by Nosler. If I seem like I'm all over the place, it's because it's been a busy, long day and I'm disoriented, which I guess isn't that different from normal. But without Greg and Derek here, I'm also just doing things. I feel like I'm a little out of sorts. Usually those guys can kind of help me through stuff when I'm like not thinking straight. But I told Greg, no need to come into the podcast studio at 8:30 on a Tuesday night. So excited to talk to these guys tonight and hear their story about the products that they have, and entrepreneur to entrepreneur. I always love that kind of stuff. And obviously, hopefully there's some good hunting stories coming out of the western part of the country. But yeah, a couple of housekeeping things, I suppose, real quick while I got everybody to myself here. We have some, let's see here. We're done with Black Friday, Cyber Monday. That was a total week of chaos. Record-breaking November, record-breaking year so far for Okayest Hunter on the merchandise side of things. We're getting our media kit ready to go. We just booked our flight and hotel for SHOT in January. I'll be heading to ATA in January. So just lots of stuff on the horizon that has to kind of like get figured out right now. Booking podcast guests in January and February, working around all those things. In terms of holiday stuff, if you want to get any Okayest Hunter merchandise before Christmas, get your order in before the 15th or by the 15th, I should say. I think that's the same thing. Just don't, if you place it after the 15th, there's a stronger chance you're not going to get your presents under the tree in time. Our hunting season survivor crew neck is flying off of the shelves, if you will. We don't have shelves. We have a warehouse, but they're moving like crazy. So those seem like a pretty great gift for your significant other, the real MVP of the hunting season, the one that has who's actually behind every tag you've ever built. If you have kids and a family and you're leaving to go chase whatever it is you're after, whitetail, typically, at least for me, I wouldn't be able to do any of it without my wife. So hats off to her, and I appreciate my wife a ton. I love her to death. She's amazing, and so this is a tribute to all the wives, their significant others, or wives, girlfriends, fiancés, and if you're a female hunter, your boyfriend, fiancé, husband, whatever it is, it's a comfy shirt. So certainly could be for anybody. Anyway, I think that's kind of all I have. Prepping ready for trade shows in March, getting stuff figured out there. Stuff doesn't end. There's always something to be doing. We got a gift guide coming out soon. I'm really excited about that because there's all these gift guides that come out every year. They're typically like templates from the previous year, and as a guy who works in marketing, they're all pretty much an arbitrage. Like somebody somewhere paid someone to get their product listed in a gift guide. So all the big dog brands, publications, just run the big box stuff. So you never really get to hear about the little guys selling stuff out of their garage or their basement or their pole barn or whatever. So our gift guide, gear guide, whatever, is going to be tailored to all the kind of mom and pop fellas and gals doing stuff. And obviously we can't get everybody, but it's our best crack at getting some of the folks that we're close with and friends with and pals with to try to kind of promote some of the smaller guys doing really cool stuff, making high quality products. So I guess that's a good lead into you getting our guests in here. So fellas, how you doing tonight? Thanks for joining me.
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. I just poured a bourbon and I think I need it. So you guys have anything over there you're drinking on?
I got a Red Bull.
Holy shit! It's like, what is it? 7:39 your time?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great night.
I'm a night owl. It's all good.
Man, I do that too. I'll crack it open at 8 p.m. and I'm like, this is gonna taste like regret.
ADHD, I'll be out in 2 hours.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think I'm speaking to someone that speaks my language. I live off of those things, man. So this one's got to bring me down. I gotta put it to bed here when we're done. I have to produce a couple more shows because we have a network of podcasts. So it'll be this one and a handful more, and then I can finally head up to bed and all that stuff. So it's late nights on Tuesday for sure. But guys, introduce yourselves, and kind of once you're done with the intros, but we'll get into the product and the brand and everything like that. But tell folks who you are.
So I'll start. I'm Cody Hamilton. Kind of a little bit about me. I grew up hunting, love hunting. When I was 5 years old, my dad bought an outfitting business. And so hunting has kind of been just wrapped up in everything that I do, everything that I think about. Every time that I would ever skip school, in high school, it was something to go up to the outfitting lodge and to help. So I grew up hunting elk, mule deer, moose, mountain lions, kind of everything Western.
Okay.
Fun story. I've never actually killed a whitetail, so that's
Really?
that's on the books one day.
Whitetail they're a total different animal. That's my drug of choice in the big game side of things. But man, growing up with your dad who ran an outfitter business, like, what do you have, like, any like core memories that come to mind?
Yeah. So when I turned 18, my dad died.
Holy shit!
And so kind of everything hunting is related to what my dad taught me, and being out in the woods and what it means to live off of this land, and having animals that are here to supply a family, to support a family. There's so many different memories from. There was one time my dad called up and he's like, "Hey, I need some help tracking a bull." And we're like, "Why? What's going on?" And he comes back and he's like, there's this bull that we hit, and we hit him good, but we need to get in on him. And there's something funny going on with him. Well, long story short, we tracked him, we got in, and the bull had an antler, or in his antler had stopped an arrow. And so in his ear was an arrow, and on one side it was held by the broadhead, on the other side it was held by the fletchings, and this arrow was just dangling back and forth in this bull's ear. And so as they first originally seen him, he was whipping his head back around like, I got this major headache. What's going on here? And so that was a fun day. I got to get in there when I was real young and be a part of the butchering process, the hoorahs, the happy moments that come when you harvest an animal.
Yeah, and you're in a bigger, what I would say big country in contrast to where I'm at. It's farmland stuff over here, so totally different feeling. Like, I gotta imagine you get hooked pretty hard when you are doing that stuff out west as a young man.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect lead to me. I'm JD Wilson. Been hunting since I was a young kid. My dad asked me when I was 8 if I wanted to play football or come hunting, and I said, "Well, when's football?" He said, "It's in the fall." I said, "Isn't that hunting season?" And he said yes, and I've been hunting ever since. All my life lessons, all my spiritual lessons have all come from my dad teaching me as we're hunting, especially. And so hunting's always held a special place in my heart for family and coming closer together there. It's also a great way to supply family with some of the best meat out there, as well as just have a good time and learn all kinds of different aspects about ourselves as we're out there, especially here where my family likes to hunt. We like to put in the miles with our boots on the ground. That's even after we've put miles in on the horses. And you learn a lot about yourself when your head's down in the dust, just hiking to the next ridge, hoping you can find that next muley. So I got hooked in archery because that was the first hunt that my dad took me on with him. That was just me and him. And so even though I scared the shit out of him when the mountain lion about came into our tent, it was pitch black, and I asked him what that was, and he didn't know what it was. He screamed out with me, but still hooked for life. Even though I also have never killed a whitetail, but I've never killed anything with my bow. I just get too excited. I get shaken too bad.
You're good company on this podcast if that's the case. So you guys, elk, mule deer, what do you like to chase the most?
Mule deer is by far my favorite, just because that's what I've always chased my whole life. I didn't really get into elk just because I never drew the tag. We didn't have time to do the over-the-counter tag and actually go out farther than just pretty much our backyard. So I grew up chasing mule deer, so that's my favorite. I had my first taste of coos this fall, and that might quickly become a favorite. So we'll see. But elk is also up there on the list. I had a ball last year chasing elk in this year.
Cody, what about you?
Yes, so elk was the number one thing that the outfitting business guided for, and so that's kind of what I've always done. That being said, I love mule deer hunting. Everything about them, how smart they are, the terrain that they're in, where the way that they are able to just sneak around, or when you're approaching them and to have a big old buck just go straight down in the middle of the wide open sagebrush and watch people go by and then jump up and run. To me, just is amazing. And so I love everything about mule deer, and it's a challenge that I like to pursue every single year.
That's awesome, man. I haven't heard people talk about mule deer like that, so that's cool to kind of hear that perspective. Not to say I've heard them talk opposite or anything. I just, we're so obsessed with whitetail here, and then we've done a bunch of elk episodes in the past. So that's cool to hear that about mule deer. And they're big. They're bigger than a whitetail, not as big as an elk. So it's a lot of meat off that animal.
Yeah, it might not be the best tasting, but it's definitely worth the reward.
Yeah, my wife's not a huge fan of venison. We're trying to change that over time. I mean, she kind of took like 2 steps forward and 3 steps back on accident one year. She had a bad experience, so I'm like trying to get her back into it again.
Well, keep
but
the mule deer's jerky for her then for a while.
yeah. How did you guys come together?
We're brother-in-laws, actually.
We married sisters in the same month of the same year.
You didn't know each other before you were dating your wives?
Other than when we were dating our wives.
Yeah. We married sisters the same month of the same year, within 15 days of each other.
And their dad must have been just going bankrupt.
He was not a happy man. I'll put it that way.
Their son got married in January of that same year, so very much so.
Crap. Wow. How did you guys navigate 2 weddings back to back? Like, that's nuts. Because you probably had to go to both of them. I mean, obviously you're in one of them because you're the groom, but I'm assuming you went to the other one.
I proposed to my wife, and I left 7 days later for 6 weeks to go fishing in Alaska commercially. So I let her plan it.
Yeah.
And then on my end, I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm going guiding, and they didn't come from a hunting family, and so they didn't know what this meant. I'm like, I'm going guiding. I'm going to be gone for 3 months. And she's like, well, yeah, but you'll be around, right? Like, I'll be able to talk to you.
Nope.
And that was no. I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to bed about 1:30. So that 3 months, I'm gone. And so I'm like, we can get married after I come home, or we can get married before. And she's like, let's get married before. So,
holy cow! It sounds like you guys, your wives need those hunting survivor crew necks. They sound like saints.
Yeah, you left like 2 days after we got married or something, right?
I didn't make it 2 days.
You made it to the actual wedding, and then left.
He's like, barely. Oh man. So what's interesting about so like I work in the industry by profession. I have this, I have another thing and another thing, and like it consumes me. So there's the hunting aspect, then there's like, yeah, then there's trade show season. There's always something that I'm doing. This podcast. Uh you guys are in the woods a lot, and then you have a business. Let's talk about what's stacked in between the two you guys here and what's going on with all that, because it's a lot to be wrapped up in your passion and then working on it all the time too. So I'd love to hear. I know we came in contact through a mutual friend. He's pretty fired up about what you guys are working on. I think I've seen you guys on social media once or twice. I maybe even commented on something. I don't remember. I think it was Cody. You had done some video. So I don't know how far things have come since then, but let's kind of unpack a little bit about like what is and who is Primal Pursuit.
So we actually didn't start with what's in the middle here. We started with an elk hindquarter archery target. I know that kind of sounds backwards with it being the hindquarter.
Literally, yeah.
We wanted it to be a training aspect, though. So Cody came to me and said, my cousin has this idea, and he's not going to do anything with it, so he gave it to me. What do you think? And I said, we need to get in the trade show, the Western Hunt Trade Show here in Utah. And so that was 2022, August, and we started building an archery target. Went through a lot of different foams, went through a lot of different headaches. Barely made it to the trade show. I think we made our first hindquarter like 2 weeks before the trade show, and tweaked it a little bit more. And then we took 3 of them to the trade show, kind of just to show people. And everybody loved it, but not very many people bought it.
Okay.
We went and showed a bunch of people. Just as Cody stayed in the booth, I went and showed a bunch of people our idea, so you could put weights on it so that it gets up to the weight of an actual elk hindquarter, but you take the weights off and you can still shoot it with your bow. And so we were showing Hoyt and showed Matthews in their booths and had them shoot it, and they were like, this is the best foam target we've ever shot. We're like, okay, really? And so as we started to realize after the trade show that this is not the product that we probably should put our foot forward on quite yet, we decided to pivot, and because we knew our foam was amazing. And we knew our foam was amazing because my archery target has 14,000 shots in it. And at the time it had 7,000 shots. And it looked darn near brand new. And because of that, we decided pursuing other things and did a big pivot, very big pivot.
Yeah, so that led us into trying to utilize the foam in a different way. And because it comes in a part A, part B mixture, we're bouncing things back and forth, and we're like, hey, what if we send that mixture to guys so that they could fix up their target? So instead of having a new target every single year, take your broadhead target that you're planning on getting rid of and use our part A, part B mixture, fix it up, and then use it again and keep shooting it, keep replacing that. And that's where this came into play. This is what we call our target medic. And like I said, it's the way that we made it was just so that the one could go into the other. A guy could use everything that they have already at their house. Comes with everything besides the drill that you need to mix it, and then the cellophane that you wrap around your target. So if you're interested, we have all kinds of information, but it's one of those things that it was too good. It was sitting on our laps, and we're like, we've got to do something.
Sure. Let's back up a little bit. I just want to hear a little bit more about the hindquarter and the training aspect of that. Can you speak to that a little bit more as to like why a hindquarter and what the training aspect was?
So back to the outfitting business. I grew up hunting with horses. And so the backpacking aspect of backcountry Western hunting wasn't really there. And that being said, because we had the horses, there were a lot of people that would give us calls and say, "Hey, I shot this bull up on the mountain and I can't retrieve it because I just blew out my knee." Or pre-season, they're trying to prepare, and they come from back east to the point to where there's not a lot of mountains to climb. They're trying to get prepared. They're trying to hike. They're trying to get their lungs built up, not thinking about what else am I going to be doing? Yeah, I've got a 70-pound pack that I'm packing around all week. What about when you shoot an elk? You've got another 800 pounds of meat that you're taking back off the mountain. Or sorry, an 800-pound bull. You're 300-400 pounds. But at that point, what are you doing? And is your body prepared for that extra weight? How many times you back in the backwoods and now that I don't have horses, it's a transfer, and it's like, okay, I've got this backpack, I've got all this weight, get back in the mountain, I shoot this elk, do 1 or 2 loads, I've got one more load, and I've got my camp. I'm just going to try to throw them together and go. And if you're not prepared for that, that's where that extra weight comes in, and it can really hurt somebody. So when my cousins was like, "Hey, I've been sitting on this idea for 5 years. I would more than anything just love to see it grow and flourish into something. If you can do that, great." I took that and I went, you know what? If this can help people be prepared, and if this can help people last longer in the mountains and continue to hunt year after year after year because they're not hurting their bodies, let's see what we can do here.
So you're saying, I think I understand better now. It's not necessarily something like, in my mind, I was picturing the ass end of an animal that you're shooting at for target practice. You're saying this is the hind quarter with the perspective weight or the equal weight of whatever it would be to carry this thing as a foam block for people to literally like train.
Yes, correct. An archery target in the shape of a hind quarter. So you can throw it on your backpack, and pre-season you can train, and instead of just having a sandbag or water that you're packing in your bag, take your bow, get on the mountain, hang it up, shoot while you're there, get in the terrain that you're going to hunt in, and then be prepared physically, be prepared for the angles, whatever thing you're going to be hunting.
So you're just, yeah, that's actually, so in essence there's like, you know, all the archery fitness stuff that goes on nowadays. There's the beast mode archery here in Wisconsin. There's obviously TAC. There's a lot of fitness stuff ingrained into archery as people train for the backcountry. And yeah, if you're tossing this giant foam target in your pack, and that is the shape of the thing you'd be packing out, and it also is the weights, and then you can lob it out and start shooting, you know, arrows at it. That's pretty cool, man. It took me a second to get there. I apologize. Maybe it's because I'm tired and I'm just generally a slow dude. But I was like, I pictured it differently in my mind until you started to articulate what was going on there. And I remember looking at your website, I couldn't make heads or tails of what that was when I saw it. I was like, I don't know what that is. But I'm sure they're going to explain it.
You're not the only one.
Dude, your questions are exactly what we got over and over again. And that's what JD was saying, is like, it was too much for people to take in at once.
You're solving more. Yeah, you typically like you're solving one pain point. You're solving like a whole bunch at once, so people don't know what to do with that information. Probably it's like, all right, well, shit, I get it now, and now they're like, they got to like process it for a minute.
Well, and a big thing we ran into also is a lot of guys didn't want to ruck and have their bow with it. We're like, well, that defeats the purpose of what you're training for too. Like your bow weighs an extra 5 pounds to 7 pounds, depending on what you have on it.
Yeah.
Like you need to have that on there too. Why not get up in the mountain where you're actually going to be hunting, get that heart rate going like it's going to actually be, and shoot the angles that you're going to be shooting in the environment that you're going to be hunting.
Yeah. And then, so you bring us a trade show, you finally get people, to like, okay, I get it, and then you're shooting this thing because it is. So I'm like, well, let's go shoot it, and that's when people are like, holy shit, this foam is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It shocked us. We never had the money for our own really, really nice broadhead targets, and so now that we were making one,
So let's go into business and spend all our money.
Yeah, exactly.
And no, I'm just joking because it'd be like a shit show. So yeah,
Very true.
we don't do this to get rich, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, I tell you.
Especially during archery season.
Or another bourbon after that one. So like, there's Reinhardt targets, there's Morel targets. These guys they've been around for a while. Like, is there concern that they would just do what you do, or is there an exit plan? And don't answer these questions if you like are like not answering these things on a freaking live podcast. Or like, is it because big gears turn slow, big companies get stuck in, into whatever they're doing, and there's something that I refer to in the business realm as technical debt. Like, it doesn't have to be technical debt, but when you do something for a long enough time, it's really hard to like do something different or new or innovative in some cases. And I think they've found what works for them. They got a freaking T-Rex and a Velociraptor and a turkey. They have a target for everything. If that's their shtick, cool. And obviously they get a lot of money on the recurring side of things when you have to replace the core. You're telling me that if let's just say I buy one of those targets, I think I have a Morel dice target because I can just lob that thing and it doesn't really matter. It's kind of fun. I like the concept. But if I shoot that thing enough, it's going to start to deteriorate and degrade or degradate. I can patch it with your stuff, or if I have a Reinhardt Rhinoceros, I can patch it and not have to pay for a new core.
Hell yes, and do it.
In addition to, you guys have your own targets too, but that foam's so damn good, I'm willing to bet I probably don't have to patch it.
You'll eventually have to patch it. It's foam. We say shoot it with broadheads, like actually get the practice you need. So it's gonna cut it up. Shooting it with field points is gonna take forever.
Are the broadheads getting stuck in there at all? Are you getting like, are they passing through? Or I have like a really shitty foam target that I shoot broadheads into that I know I'll get full penetration. So like I can unscrew them and just pull the arrow out. Are yours going all the way in or all the way through?
We don't recommend shooting mechanicals in and pulling them back out.
Yeah.
That said, too, we've also had a couple guys that do pull them back out and it didn't break their mechanicals.
I shoot fixed, so it didn't even occur to me. That's a good point, though.
But yeah, fixed, so just pull it. But you can pull it straight back out if you wanted.
So that's interesting, guys. I mean, how's it going so far?
So after the repair kit, we moved to this cube, and our good buddy that's with Muley Maniacs, he first was like, you guys need to do a big target, charge a outrageous amount for a 24-inch target and give it a lifetime warranty. We're like, yeah, well, a big target doing that, like, it's more outrageous than you think.
Yeah, shipping on that's going to be a nightmare.
Well, and that was one thing, but like even the cost of doing our foam in a big target is also not what a consumer wants to pay.
Sure.
But then Caleb, our contact, he was like, why don't you just do a small one, like a 12-inch or...
Why don't you just go the other direction?
Yeah, like... I was like, it's not a bad idea. A dinner plate's 9 inches. We always say you need to shoot a 9-inch dinner plate before you can be comfortable enough to say you can shoot an animal. Like that's always the old wives' tale, like the old timers, you got to shoot a dinner plate to be able to feel comfortable. And so we're like, well, there's a couple of companies out there that have frames already, and they fit a 10-inch cube. Let's just do a 10-inch cube. So that's what we switched to, and we didn't necessarily pivot away from the repair kit. We wanted something that was more of a focus. Instead of the repair kit, we wanted our target to be the bigger focus. And so August, we launched the 10-inch cube. We call it the Endura Cube because it is the only archery target that's for broadheads that's made of foam that has a lifetime warranty.
That's awesome.
And so
And
we kind of did this step of our foam's going to outlast everybody's. Our foam is better. Our foam is better quality. That's why we did the repair kit. Let's just make a target that has that same quality.
so I guess one of the questions I don't know if I like fully got to the question I had is, how did two guys trying to save money, end up making a better foam on the market? And this is where I don't need your like secret sauce here per se, but it is a curious question because, if this is I'm not going to make this an entrepreneurship podcast, although I'd be hard pressed to not try to because I love that shit. Is like there's a lot of guys with ideas, man. Everyone's got a 3D printer. Everyone's got a way to do something a little bit better to make micro adjustments. There's a lot of innovation in the world right now, even with the advent of AI and everything else. Like, there's a lot of problems that are worth solving. And, sometimes people like fear, well, I don't want to do it because the big guys will take my idea or they'll trademark it and kick me out of the market. I've seen big companies lawyer up, put trademarks in place, and just bully the little guy into changing their name or dropping a product line. Crazy stuff. Can you speak to that in any capacity around how you guys went about? Like, I suck at supply chain. I wish I would have went to school for it. Actually, I didn't realize how valuable a skill that would be to know how to like put together a supply chain, like how to source things. I don't. How do you figure out where to source your foam? Do you have a background in this?
So Cody's background is business management and entrepreneurship. Of course, it is. Like, I grew up
Sure.
with the outfitting business, and so pushing that side of things and being the devil's advocate, he's very good at on that, and you need that in the entrepreneur side. My background is supply chain management, as well
there you have
as product development and product design. So
that marriage between you guys marrying sisters, that seems like divine intervention. The two of you coming together is a real marriage.
We're hoping it can be dangerous. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. A supply chain guy meets a business major that happened to really grow up in the backcountry guiding hunts. This is perfect. I mean, like what could go right here? Everything.
He says he's hoping we're dangerous. Our wives are scared. We're always talking ideas, and sometimes that's dangerous too.
Yeah, well, the entrepreneurship curse is that we're kind of natural optimists. We think everything's going to work, and we have an idea a day. It's like the real talent becomes not bring every idea to market because like it's crazy. It's a gift and a curse.
Yeah, how many things did we take to that Western show?
4 different things.
Yeah, we had a box of other things that had nothing to do with archery targets that we showed to certain people, but we didn't have them out in display.
Yeah, I can understand. Well, 'cause every idea takes a certain level of work and capital and investing, and at some point you're like, man, I got too much on my plate. I can't do another thing right now. It's just gonna be too much. It's got to fit in the wheelhouse. So you guys got something that I don't think is talked about enough. In the marketing realm, it's like everyone talks about the customer journey and all that stuff. I don't think people talk enough about the product journey and how, as a consumer, someone buys something from a business. It's really expensive to acquire a customer. Customer acquisition costs or I'm not going to say it, the acronym on this podcast because I'll get made fun of. But you can piece together CAC real easily. Can be really expensive if you just have to keep paying for new customers all the time. If you only have a one-trick pony or one product in your suite or something that doesn't really get consumed at all. You guys have already a pretty decent product roadmap. Whereas a consumer buys your product, they can also then buy the patch kit, the stuff that's going to repair it, the medic kit that you called it. What'd you call the target healing?
Target medic.
Thank you. Yes, I was right. Target medic. So people can come back and buy more stuff. I imagine there's more on the product roadmap that'll come to market inside of that wheelhouse. Are you guys going to do? I know so they're all black. Are you guys going to do anything that has some sort of like focal point to be shooting at, or I got to put like a beer can on that thing?
You want a sticker? So that's been a huge question that everybody has, And you brought up the point about there being a lot of these other foam companies that have been out there for a long time. And yeah, Morel, Reinhardt, Delta McKenzie, 365. There are a lot of them out there. And when JD and I came together and looked at the industry and went, these old players, what are they doing and what are they not doing? What thing can we do to be different, to cause questions, to maybe make people look at this in a different way? That's where this whole talk has came, and that's where the products have kind of evolved. And to answer your question about the stickers, or if we're going to do a different color or anything else around that, short answer is we've got stencils and we're going to be sending those out. But we wanted people to be able to put whatever they wanted on there. We wanted people to look at this and go, you're telling me that's an archery target and you don't have a dot on there. You don't have a square on there. You don't have a crosshair. What the heck? Just to keep that mindset in people's heads a minute longer. Because if we can do that, if we can cause questions, if we can cause people to look at us and go, why would you ever put a lifetime warranty on an archery target and tell people to shoot their broadheads out? If we can cause those questions, we can get them to maybe take the next step, to maybe try out what foam we have and see what it really is. And so that's kind of where we're at.
Well, we wanted to make better hunters too. We talked to a couple guys that teach archery things, and they don't like dots. They like squares because that gives you your vertical and horizontal, so that you can teach that. And so, like, we wanted to make better hunters, and we also wanted hunters to be comfortable with what they were shooting. Everybody has a reticle that they like to shoot. I like to shoot an 1.5-inch dot. My other buddy likes to shoot a 2-inch square. I don't know what Cody likes to shoot, but I know Caleb at the beginning of the season likes to shoot a crosshair. So he gets his vertical. And so everybody has what they like to shoot. So it's a blank slate. Put on what you want to do. We'll send the stencil out that has kind of the 5 square, circle, diamond, triangle, and the crosshair. So you can put them all on if you want. You can put one on. But then also we'll do novelty stuff too down the line, novelty stencils, and just paint it on. Paint it on orange, paint it on blue, paint it on white, whatever color you prefer.
What's interesting about that, so Greg, my co-host, he's in the comments here, which is great. Thanks for jumping in, Greg. He said blank bales are an open canvas. What's funny about that is, I mean, how old am I? 38. So I'm probably 10-ish years ago. If you scroll far enough back on OKS Hunter's YouTube channel, it used to be the Where to Hunt YouTube channel before we rebranded in 2020. And you can go back much further to like 2011 or something like that when the page was created, or 2012, I don't know. But there's a video that I had to do for college when I was in web media. And of course I just made it about hunting because I was like, what else am I going to talk about? And I had this bit where I was like coloring. I would go to the local rec spot down the road. I'd drive there, my bow in my truck, and I'd get up, put it on the picnic table. I lived in an apartment. I was a young dude in college. Like, I didn't have a house and a yard, or I wasn't with my parents. I couldn't shoot my bow. I had no space. I'm not gonna be one of those videos on TikTok. TikTok wasn't around back then, where I'm shooting a bow inside of my apartment. Like, I'm not gonna pay for that mess when it goes wrong. So I'd go to the hay bales, and there's no target on the hay bale. I would just get the cheapest paper plates I could find and a couple of Sharpies, and in this video, there's a video of me just coloring in bullseyes with different colors, and I would do like a bunch of them. I'd do like 3 or 4 or 5 plates, and I'd put them on the 5 corners of the big hay bale, and I'd go to town. And I remember I actually enjoyed that process a bit, and I remember I also went to another rec place for lunch at work with a couple guys. We'd go shoot our bows for lunch. We'd bring them to work and we'd go to the hay bales and shoot. So the concept of painting or drawing or etching or whatever your own bullseye is not a new concept. It's a concept that people are probably used to, but it's something that it's a bit of an easy button if it comes with it, you just do whatever's there. But then think about how like degraded that one spot's gonna get if you hit your mark. If you just shoot that one spot time and time again, like just move the bullseye a little bit. I understand that you probably want your target to be in the middle of the block. So if you miss left, right, up, down, you're not going to search for arrows all the time because that sucks too. I can't tell you how many arrows my dad has lost in his backyard and can't even find with a metal detector. That's a lot. Uh, it buries so quick. Everyone had that high FOC, trend that we all went through as bow hunters. Some might still be there. But arrows
I'm still there.
they drop real fast, man. Like you start shooting upgrade, like, wow, that dropped a lot faster than I thought it was gonna. That arrow just like gravity really got it. It's gone.
My pins from last year, they didn't work. What the heck?
Last year, 2 years ago. My pins from 2 years ago.
In the comments, Damien here was talking about one of the arrows that we've shot at OK's Hunter when Method was around before they were called Method. They were called Vector. Isaac Smith's a good pal of mine. He was making micro shaft or micro shaft diameter. Am I saying this wrong? No, I'm just saying it weird.
Micro diameter shafts.
Yeah, thank you. And they had these. They're up here on the deers in the studio here. They had these collars on them, insert outserts, and those would sometimes like come off in the target. But also they're talking about like the self-healing of your targets with a micro shaft diameter. I imagine, is that accurate that yours would handle that better than a traditional target?
So I don't know which ones those ones are. I've done the Bad Boys shafts, which stick off quite a bit. They're 1/8 of an inch, sometimes even more. And I haven't ripped one off yet. They're held on by the field point or the broadhead pretty good, but like it hasn't ripped out any inserts yet either. So far it keeps shocking us is the best way to put it. We've really tried to put it through the ringer to make sure. We used to have our webbing on our hind quarter, it goes all the way through. We don't do that anymore because the webbing used to would hammer the arrows. So now our webbing goes in just enough so that it stays in there.
Okay.
That's the way to put it. But other than that, everything's pulling out pretty smooth so far.
And what's inventory like insofar as, can you guys like sell a whole bunch of these things and you're good to go? Or is there a backlog? Do I got to wait a while? What's the price point on them? Are they, so the I always ask like 10 questions at once. Be annoying.
So our price point is $200. That's the lifetime warranty in there. And how that lifetime warranty works, we say shoot 3 sides up. And once those 3 sides are shot up, then give us a holler. And either send it to us and we'll repair it and send it back to you. And that will take anywhere 6 to 8 weeks. Or we can send you a repair kit for the cost of shipping and you can repair it yourself. That'll take about 2 weeks to go through that process. On inventory right now, we make them to order, so it takes 4 or 5 days. We have give us 2 weeks in case things get hectic, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. And so we usually can stay pretty on top of it. We can make quite a bit during a day if we really needed to.
And are you guys? I mean, what's the question? I have to slow myself down. How has the response been so far? Like from the people that have been purchasing them, are they pleased? Are they happy? Has anyone had to go through a repair of any sort yet? Whether you do it or they do it?
So we had Caleb. We got Caleb one of our old models that was a 12-inch cube, all the way back in April of 23. Yeah, April of 23, and he shot it all the way about May of 24. He was shooting it, and then he hammered it last year. from July to end of August, September, essentially. He did 2 sides with broadheads, 900 on one side, 700 on the other side. His field point side, he was still stopping arrows. He was still stopping arrows even on the other 2. He just didn't have anywhere to put something because of the broadheads, fixed blade broadheads. But then it was still stopping arrows in July of this year, and he was shooting a crossbow at it at 20 yards, and it was still stopping arrows. And so we sent him a repair kit. Middle of July, he repaired it and continued shooting it, and that was the target he was shooting up until his big bull hunt he had in September. So he's the only one so far. No one since August has had to repair one. We're actually trying to think of a challenge, see if we can't get someone to try and get to a repair within a month, kind of thing. It's looking like it's going to be pretty hard, though.
What's the commercial market like for these, where it might just get pounded at an archery shop over and over and over again? Like that life cycle could be, accelerated.
We would love it, honestly, is the way that we look at it, because with the repairing option that we have, it's not sending a target to the waste, the dump, the landfill afterwards. It can be repaired, it can be replaced, and then kept back out there. For most guys, when they go walking into their local archery shop, the guy that's telling them about the bow is a guy that they trust. If he's got a target out sitting on his range that's been there for 2 years, and maybe it's been replaced or repaired 1 or 2 times, kind of thing, it's still out there. It's still getting hammered. It's still stopping arrows. On our end, we see that as the best marketing thing that we could ever do. Is trust, word of mouth. Your buddies talking back and forth to each other. That's the best thing that can happen. And so if it's somebody that's trusted and listened to as much as the local archery shop, we'd love to get it in there.
And you mentioned crossbow when you're talking about, Caleb. A lot of targets can't handle crossbow bolts. They're the speed at which they fly out is like insane.
Yep.
So like, I don't know enough about this stuff, so which is fine, because then I can ask you guys the questions. I don't know what I don't know, and I don't care about not knowing anything. Part of my MO. But are other targets like promoting that you can shoot a crossbow at them, or can you kind of walk me through that a little bit more?
Yeah, there's a bunch out there that are crossbow worthy. They're a pain to pull your arrows out of them. Ours pull the exact same as if you shot your compound bow at them.
And how is that? How does it work like that?
Honestly, we kind of chanced upon our foam. It took a lot of we didn't chance upon it. It took a lot of tries, and that was just kind of a happy blessing that we got. And it was something we wanted. We didn't know if we had it though, because we don't have crossbows. And then finally got our hands on a crossbow to test it. And happy blessing that it was stopping just the same. We've also found too that most of the time you're shooting a fatter diameter bolt than what you're shooting out of your compound, and so you don't get as much penetration with those crossbow bolts usually too.
It's displacing more. And when you're doing the repair with the target medic, is the composition compromised in any way, shape, or form? Like, is it still? Am I going to repair more frequently than now that I've repaired it once, or? Because I imagine with the way I don't know again, guys, I don't know shit, but like the cube comes out and it's a cube, right? It's compressed, it's made. Now you've dug a whole bunch out. I just picture a badger having at this thing. Maybe that's a good commercial for you guys. Give it to the honey badger, see what happens.
Not a bad idea.
And then you repair it. Is the life expectancy going to be very similar or slightly shorter than the original block? Can you explain that a little bit? I'm just trying to think about the questions the consumer is going to have that you guys can speak to while I got you here.
Yeah. So the amount of pressure that it takes in order to make the cubes come out like they do, is a lot more than what you can get wrapping cellophane around and duct tape. And so that being said, even though it's the same foam from what we send you to the repair that's happening with it, there's not enough pressure, and so the amount of time is slightly less than the original target. That being said, it's a lot more minimal than what most people would think.
It pretty much will take our cube to what the competition's foam is.
Sure.
And so that's what we wanted. And if you wrap it in duct tape enough, you will get the pressure that you need too, as long as you have it stapled around the hole or pinned around the hole well enough to hold that in place. It can get up to, it can hold a lot more pressure than you think duct tape can, but it still, the chances of it being what we can get it out to, just because we've been doing it for 3 years now, what the consumer's going to get, yeah, it's going to be a little softer, but it is the same foam, so you can get it there.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer, and I'm glad you were able to address that. Do you think, if I'm buying the Target Medic and I'm getting those two jugs to mix the A and the B and do the cellophane and duct tape in your roadmap, would there be like a cast, like a consumer cast that I could buy as part of that kit? So like I have my own self-healing kit where I okay, it's a cube, so it's a big square. I place it in there, maybe put it's missing one of the 4 sides. I pop the top on, there's a spot to inject this stuff into. I don't know how it works, if it would work that way or not, but I almost wonder if that's something that like you could sell it, like buy it with the repair kit right out of the gate. And now you can keep all the pressure in, and you don't have to duct tape stuff like that. That's a deterrent for me. Anything that I have to go putz around with, I'm gonna make it a nightmare. I'm a Polak. My mom's last name is Rakowski. Like, it's super Polish. I make everything so difficult. My actual last name is Clark. Just covered up math. You don't know it. And I'm just thinking, like, boy, oh boy, if my wife walked in the garage and I'm like cellophaning a Target and getting duct tape, she's gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know." But if you had like this nice manicured kit where I'm like, "No, I just got to put in this cube and I get this big syringe. I'm gonna inject. I got it. It's good. It's not gonna make a mess." That's how I'm thinking about it.
We've definitely talked about stuff like that down the line. We first came out with this so that people could repair their 3D targets or their current targets, and there is no way we could cover all the 3D targets and everybody else's target spaces on getting like a cast for it. But for our cube, we definitely have talked about something that you just like, because you just have to pour it. You mix it in this and then you pour it in, and then you have about 40 seconds as it's expanding that so, like, you could put a face on it and like screw the face down.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about it.
Dude, my Christmas, this is interesting. My Christmas tree stand for we do like we have a fake tree, we have a real tree. We cut the real tree down, it's a big tradition. The fake one is, or whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. Nonetheless. The base has, I had an old one where you had to like literally hand screw 8 different freaking bolts. And I was like, this is insane. What, like, my hand's getting tired, the tree's tipping over. It was, again, picture like, what are you doing? And here, Eric, just leave me alone. Like, I'm freaking out here. We have this new one where the bolts slide in to hit once it hits, then you can tighten it. I don't know. There's like some mechanism on the top that I lift, it slides, I put it down, then I can screw it in. Something that has this expediency factor to like placing that last piece on, zip, 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 tight, 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 tight. That's interesting to me. Like, maybe there's something there. Again, guys, I'm not an engineer, so like, just tell me to stop making stuff up on a podcast for you. But just where my mind's going with this.
That's where our mind goes daily. So you're good.
Yeah, I don't know.
You call later.
Yeah, you're gonna be go buy a Christmas tree base. Like, man, Eric said that Christmas tree. What is that? Let's let's reverse engineer that.
No, my wife converted me to fake. Don't have the string lights anymore.
we do the both, man. The both is kind of we do have this. So Waukesha County Land Conservancy is a. I live in Waukesha County in Wisconsin, and we donate 1% of our revenue goes to them because they do a lot of land acquisition, make it available for hunting and recreating and so forth. They put on this big Christmas tree cut down thing on one of their properties to help rehabilitate the property. I think it was like an old Christmas tree farm, so the property's got no like biodiversity or habitat diverse nothing. So they're just over the course of a few years, they're letting people come onto the property and cutting down Christmas trees. And so then you just donate. It's like $50 a tree. Well, we donate far more than that as a business to like help out, and then in turn, our family gets a nice Christmas tree that we get to cut down. So that's been our tradition for several years to cut one down, and it's just cool that it's all tied back. Of course, I make it about the business, like, oh, we can go do some good here. Like,
I loved how you talked about hunting. You brought it back around to the conserving and preserving more land for hunting.
Yeah. So anyway, it's really cool what you guys are doing. It's hard to like even the packaging that's in is a process. Like every bit, business is so hard, and consumers have such a high expectation of us little guys trying to figure shit out because they're so used to engaging with the Amazons of the world and the Netflixes and so forth.
Yep.
They have very similar consumer expectations, and they want things made here, and they want it fast, they want it now and on demand and so on and so forth. And I think somewhere along the way people forget how hard this shit is to go start a business and run it. Are you guys doing this full time, or are you side hustling like a lot of folks?
Full side hustle right now.
But yeah, full side hustle is a great way to put it. I'm still in school as well as trying to do my other businesses. Cody just moved to Cache Valley, so he's looking for his next full business as well as doing this. So one day we hope this is our full-time thing. We hope it's sooner than later.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys have gone to market, you have product, you're going to the trade show. Are there other trade shows? What are you guys doing to short of like guessing on our podcast? Like what else are you guys doing to get product out there? How's it going?
Right now it's a lot of social media and trying to get in archery shops to give us a little hoorah, give us a little word of mouth kind of thing. If they want to have it in their shop, great. If not, try it, give us a good opinion. And so we've been having a couple influencers. We're not giving away any targets per se right now, just because of our marketing budget. But we are, if influencers want to reach out, they can. We can give them a pretty good code, and it still holds the lifetime warranty too.
Okay.
But eventually, yeah, we want to do couple tacks next year. The hard thing with the nicer trade shows, meaning the indoor trade shows like Western Hunt Fest or Whitetails Unlimited, not many people want to carry around an archery target.
Right.
And so pretty hard to go to a trade show if you're not even going to break even or even come close to breaking even. And so
we
we're there.
Figure that one out ourselves. We typically just about break even. You don't realize how much has to go into like the exhibition fee to actually exhibit, the gas, the payroll if you're doing that, hotels, food. We log everything, man. We
extra product that we're pretty lean manufacturing right now, and so all the extra product that we have to take too, and targets aren't light.
No. Yeah. Oh, I remember I had the 2.7.
I think that at best, consumers expect the same thing out of us small companies as the companies that have been in the industry for forever. This from the packaging down to how we display ourselves, how we show ourselves, how we market our companies. It's all expected to be the same. When right now we would love to be there. We know what the expectation is, but there's give and takes in some places.
Yeah, we're okay to do the baby steps to it instead of trying to do the big steps and it be wrong also.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, having the product done correctly, done right, done well matters. So when it does get to the consumer's hand, they have a good experience. That word of mouth is a big deal. I mean, product-led growth is my favorite ways for a business to grow, because at that point, when you pour some gas on the marketing fire, it's legitimate. I mean, there's a lot of people just trying to market turds, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. There's some saying, I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm not like Tommy Boy here, but it's, you spray paint a turd, and it's still a fucking turd. Like, you have a good product, it does the work for you. You don't need to market it. And if you do, at some point need to like start to reach a new audience, you're gonna have the same effect as you continue to march down that path. So
Yeah, you say that like this is a blemish. This one, it didn't make it to the density that we wanted. And so like that's technically a blem too. And it's funny that people want this sexy looking target that they're going to go put in their backyard, most likely leave in their backyard to let the weather just eat it away. And
I
then
got one of those in my backyard now. Yeah.
it.
But you think about the man, all the content creators. So there's there's influencers, there's content creators, and that, well, speaking of cubes, like I often use an example of a square versus a rectangle. A rectangle can't be a square, but a square can be a square and a rectangle. It can be both, not the other way around. And a content creator is just a content creator. They can't be an influencer, but an influencer can be an influencer and a content creator. They're very that analogy seems to make sense for people. But you consider these creators and influencers that are taking pictures of these things, they do look sexy. They do have some like sex appeal, and it's a fucking cube target. Like,
Caleb does a great job.
so yeah, I think the stencils will be really interesting. Obviously I can just go buy stencils, and like my daughter could draw on whatever she wants on this thing. I remember those like weird gear things you'd draw in a circle for an hour, and you'd end up with this like weird looking, circle thing when you were a kid. I don't remember what that toy was called. But I feel like, yeah, you could draw whatever you want on this thing. I'd let my kids just go nuts on it. I think that'd be really cool. If you had like kid stencils, and let Muck Boots does this. Muck's a partner of ours, and the kid boots that we got came in boxes that were, the whole box was like basically a coloring book. It was awesome. So my kids are coloring the Muck boot boxes with all these outdoor pictures. It was really great. Oh shoot, I wonder if their connection dropped off. They're back. Hold on. You guys are back. I don't know what happened. Quick
I don't
recovery.
know what happened there.
Nice
Also,
work.
lost connection.
Yeah, you dropped off and you came back quick. That was great. I was just saying how Muck, I don't know if you guys caught that part or not. When they sent us kid boots for my kids, the boxes were like a coloring book. And so, I mean, for whatever it's worth, as a parent with kids, like I don't give a shit what's on the target. I would just let my kids draw it all up, and they would love that. It would be a good way to get them involved. So when you
there's
guys,
that, there's that side. We've also had people go, "Why don't you do like a stencil of the current nominee or something like that too?"
yeah, yeah, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I'm sure those things that already exist to some capacity, right?
Yeah, our sticker guy actually is doing a big thing right now too. So like, there's even that option of he's calling it the beer can shot. So essentially, you can get a 6-pack, 12-pack, 24-pack of stickers, put whatever you want on that sticker, and then slap that on there also. So there's ideas like that too.
Yeah, there might be some really interesting partnership you do, like Sticker Mule or some of the other companies that do that stuff. That can be kind of fun. I have another idea I'll talk to you guys about offline. It's a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, tell people we'll bring the plan in for landing here. But if I miss anything, feel free to interject. But let's just make sure people know where to find you guys and how to find you guys. And you guys had that nice little blow up on social media. It's good to hear you're working with some influencers and so forth. But steer people in the right direction while we got their attention here.
Yeah, so our Instagram is at the Primal Pursuit Official, at Primal Pursuit Official. That's our TikTok also, Primal Pursuit Official. Our YouTube is Primal Pursuit Official. Our website is theprimalpursuit.com
with the
at the beginning. That's all. Every single one of those avenues is a way to contact us, ask questions, let us know if things aren't working. Give a shit a little bit too. We're okay with that. have a little fun there, do whatever. It's where you can best find us, see where it's going, see what's down the tube. We have more things to come.
Good, man. That's great. Yeah, theprimalpursuit.com. When you go to your website, I'm assuming you can get to the Instagram and Facebook and TikTok from there. But I appreciate you guys coming on the show. Thanks for being so flexible. This is our third reschedule. Typically we don't shoot deer as much as we did this year for OKS Hunter. I blame.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was. I didn't expect to get the one I got. Derek got one on a whim out of nowhere. I didn't even know he was hunting that day, so we just had you guys lined up a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, it's peak rut, and we're killing deer. Like our listeners wanted to hear about what was going on, and then my daughter's thing tonight. So you guys are really, really flexible, and I really appreciate the understanding and grace you extended. So. Thanks for being on the show. I'll end the live broadcast and I'll keep you guys on for just a minute here, but thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You bet.